to Wargaming World and to a new game of fantasy, Wargaming World Solo. Fantasy Wargaming World Solo is played between you and the virtual you. It's played over strategic objectives and with troops which have a morale standard between 6 and 10. The units have characters such as captains that lead them, and there is magic, and that magic is important for the control of monsters. They can include also flying creatures. The solo player has a number of commands per turn, whereas the virtual you must test against its morale standard to see whether its approaches remain bold, cautious or measured. The decisions that are then made are cross-referenced against the table against those approaches to see whether they do things in a bold, cautious or measured way. Fantasy Wargaming World Solo, we've got two forces. Got a whole mixture over here of Greeks and even some centaurs over on the far side, fighting against the Greeks, including Minotaurs, Cyclops and wild men and all sorts here. So it's a battle to fight for this area of well, let's say religious significance, and we've got two attacking forces. Right. So which force I'm going to be? 1, 2, 3, it'll be the Greeks. No, it's not. So with a closer look, I've got Minotaurs there further away, then we've got some archers, and I've got a commander at the back there. You'll see him with his book and a bit of magic to throw in. We've got wild men and King Aeetes at the back there. And then we've got another couple of units, including archers, and finally at the back I have my Cyclops. Virtual you will be this. We've got centaurs at the back, and then we've got a number of Greek units, including Jason, and it's just that might be Zeus at the front there. You can add a little bit of magic in. We've got more Greek units, and at the end we have a unit of bowmen too, so this is going to be the virtual U force. So in my phase I had 5 commands and moved these 4 units forward, as well as I should say the Minotaur at the back there. In terms of the virtual U, any unit which has a black dice against it failed its approach. So you'll see the archers nearby, and then the units at the back, including the centaur. If it's gone to red, it means it's cautious. Blue is that they are measured. And all of the units originally were green, which is bold to move them forward. So you'll see all of the other units that have moved forward are all with a green dice and all advancing towards my forces. The exception is over here. Paris was able to charge his unit at my Minotaurs. I did a counter charge but failed, so we need to do the melee here and see what the impact is. The impact for Paris and for the Minotaurs is a +1 as a heavy unit, so it's +1 to this, but the Greeks also charge, so that's +2. So that's a 3. So we're going to add 3 to this green dice and just 1 to the blue. So that's 7 plays 4. My Minotaurs have a morale of 8, less 7 for the impact. So let's see what happens. So we are therefore going to be 7 above. And 7 is a full retreat away in disorder. I need to draw a card to see if the senior well, let's say command or senior character is a casualty in that melee. Do that by drawing a card. 6, no, it's the unit just retreats. We need to test for Paris and the Greek units, so their morale is 10. The impact, remember, was 4, so we need to get 6 or below to be fine. But it's not, it's 1 over, and that will mean that it'll need to make a half move back, and that's significant because it means what it can't do is chase and follow up the advantage from that previous action. Need to draw a card, make sure Paris wasn't a casualty in that action. And a 10, no, he wasn't. So that's the end of the first turn. Let's see how many commands I get in turn 2. In the second turn, I've advanced the Cyclops and this unit, which is the wild men. And then I use my 3 archers, this unit and the 2 over there, to fire. I had 6 commands in total. The other commander had to turn around the Minotaurs over there. So I then fired 2 units, fired at Zeus's unit, 1 hitting and pushing it back, which is why it's now got a black dice against it, and similarly against this unit. So that was the end of my turn. Over here we had a number of units that were pushed back with the firing, as I mentioned. These units here, the Arab unit, were on the green dice. They've advanced. Jason, his unit wanted to charge, although they remained bold with the green dice. I failed. I got an 11 when I wanted to charge, so the unit couldn't charge. These units with the black dice against them had failed their approach, so had to stay still, and that left the Centaurs at the back. They fired at the Minotaur. They hit, but the impacts of that, the Minotaurs then rolled a 3 and so passed their morale test. So that is the end of the second turn, effectively, and overall it means that the virtual U has been pretty stalled in its attack from various different points, and it's now over to turn 3. I'll see if I can make an impact with my attacking units. How many commands do I get? It's a +1 because I'm attacking, and it'll get a 1 for my commander. So I have 4 in total. So I'll look to charge with the Cyclops unit and these wild men here. I can move my spearmen through the skirmishers, so that'll be the 3rd command. Have another go advancing my Minotaurs. The thing I roll is for a random event. It's not happened in either of the 2 turns beforehand, but it happens if it's if I roll a 6. Not in this turn. A dice to see whether the unit can charge. So it's an 8 for the Cyclops, 8 or less, and no, they fail. Wild men are a 10. They do pass. An 8 for a counter charge, and they can. Before the fighting, this is where my units have got to in my phase. So you'll see the Minotaurs have advanced at the top of the screen. This infantry unit have moved and advanced. Nothing from the Cyclops, and let's see what happens over here in the fighting. I've got both units as heavy units as a +1, and both have charged. It's a +3 for both. Black is my unit. Oh, that's not good. So 9 the impact of the Greeks, and 4 for me. The wild men are a 10 for morale, less 9 for the impact. So how far above 1? And 6 above. So full retreat, and I need to draw a card. Let's see. Now that could certainly be something. Now, my unit was a 10 because the captain gave a +1 in terms of leadership. They're killed with the Queen, and that means that that unit goes down in terms of its morale from 10 down to 9 as a veteran unit. The Greeks, their morale is 8, less 4 for the impact. So how far above 4, if at all? Just 1, so it's a half move back. They effectively go back as a result, and they don't move in their phase. Similarly, I need to draw a card just to see if a character... Joker, what does that mean? Now, a Joker would mean that if it was a character, such as Zeus in one of the other units, that the character would be removed, even as an immortal, I don't have it in this particular unit, so there's no further impact. So there is no random event, but in terms of the virtual U, there's been some success. Basically, 2 units here have passed their approach, been bold and attacked the Cyclops. So Jason is at the front, and then this unit here, spear unit, is attacking in the flank. So we'll work with that. At the back, you'll note that there are some units with a black dice. They failed their approach and can't move. Zeus and the unit behind it has advanced, and over here we've got both the Minotaurs and Paris. They charged and will fight in a moment. The Centaurs are cautious, so they could have attacked the Minotaurs in the flank but didn't. They have moved past, so moved into a position to fire into future turns. So there was no random event at the start and there's no magic, so what we will do is have a look at the fighting over here. So the impact over here, Cyclops and the Greeks, they charged, and they're both heavy units, so it is a +3 in terms of impact. But then this unit, we roll a dice for that. Now I'm going to half it because I'm going to say it's a light unit in combat, but it gets a +1 because it's attacking in the flank. Separate. So the Cyclops hits +3. Well, it's only 1, so 4. And we'll say Jason is the black dice, so it's that +3. So that is 6 in its impact, and then the other unit, we half it, but I've got a 6, so it's a 3 +1 is 4, so that is 10 in total. So the impact on the Cyclops is 10. Its morale is 8, so we're already 2 over. So I'm going to roll these 2 dice and then add 2. This +2 for its reaction. 11, so that's 13, which means it's a rout and that unit is removed from the board. We'll need to test for Jason. So Jason is a morale of 10 for this particular unit, less 4 for the impact, so that's 6. What do we get? That's 5, so that's no impact, and a significant success over here. We got fighting on this side, so we'll say that my dice is the blue dice for the Minotaurs. They've charged, as have Paris. They're both heavy units, so it's a +3 for both dice. So what have we got? So 6 for me, 5 for the virtual U. So Paris's morale is 10, or his unit I should say, so it's a 10 less 6 is the impact. So how far above 4 do we go? 3, so it's a half move backwards. So morale is 8 less 5, leaves 3. How far above 3 do we go? Oh, right, 9 above. That's a disaster, because that means the Minotaur unit is removed. Draw a card to see if there was any impact to the Greeks. No, there wasn't. That's the end of turn 3, and a pretty disastrous one, with both the Cyclops and Minotaurs on my flanks being removed, and I now need to well, see what I can do in response. Turn 4, how many commands do I have here? So 5, I'm on attack, that's +1 and +1. So with the 6 commands, I've actually just manoeuvred my troops. I had to turn round the wild men, these at the front here, after the fighting that they'd been in. I've then manoeuvred units across the line in order then that they can act as well as on the flank. I've moved against the Centaurs. I can't fire with any of the units because I've moved instead. So it's the end of my turn, and so I'll go and test the approach of the virtual U. So for the virtual U, some poor rolls. Now I'm just going to point out that the restriction for me is the amount of commands I have. The restriction for the virtual U is passing their approach. And all the ones which have a black dice against them means that they can't move. So you'll see that a lot of those units, including Paris at the top there, can't move after getting pushed back in the melee, means that they can't operate. And that's what limits the virtual U in the game. Two units that have moved are these, which have moved forward along this particular line. Jason failed in the move, or rather in its approach, and has gone cautious. And although Hercules behind him could move, he's then blocked by the fact that it's a heavy unit and he can't move through it. So the only other activity is this unit, which has passed its approach and will now fire at this unit here. So I'll need an 8 or less to hit. It is an 8, so to hit, it's full effect at this range. That's 4. Well, 8. Impact is 4. So is it above 4? Yes, it is. By 4, so that is a half retreat for that unit. I draw a card to see if their captain in the unit is killed. No, it's not. Actually, I realise I've missed a unit. I've missed the Centaurs off the back there. They are within range to fire, and will fire at this unit here. It's to hit. That is a hit. Dice impact is 4. Is an 8 less 4. So again, it's a as the other spear unit is that it's going to have to retreat by half a move. I draw a card, and that is a jack. And for the next 3 units, that unit is going to be down by 1 in its morale, so it goes down from 8 to 7. So that means it's the end of the turn, and although it's advantage to the virtual U, my units are still in some point intact.
Mio vecchio! Piano!
So it's a new turn, and I had 7 commands. I can't use all of them because 2 of my units I can't move, the ones with the black dice against them. I've moved up the Aetes, King Aetes, to give a cover on the flank. Moved the archers forward here, so it means I've got sort of like a defensive line. Don't do anything else with the other units. I've got my commander and a bit of magic perhaps in this unit here for reserve, and then I've got 2 units to fire, so I can fire with these archers. They will do at the other archers over there, and finally I'm going to have these archers fire at the centaurs. The morale standard of these is a 7, and they miss. These are a 9. That's a hit. Right. 1 dice is a 4. Standard of the centaurs is 8 less 4 is 4. So what's their response? Oh right, so that is a 6. That is a full move back, so it's going to be a full 12 inches away. Draw a card. Nothing with a 2, and that's where they disappear to, and that secures my flank. So better for me, or a better roll, that's for some very unlucky rolls, over to the virtual U. Okay, so the virtual U, there's no random event. So testing the approach from this end, Jason, the unit here, failed, so that stays still as it has gone measured by the blue dice. Over here both units passed. The Greeks charged, got a counter charge, and then this unit, as was the case with the Cyclops, have now moved into the side for melee, which I'll do in a moment. These 2 units have moved forward. In addition, failure for Zeus and the unit, so it's gone cautious with that red dice. I've moved forward with the unit here behind it, and Paris and his unit has advanced. And the unit over here on the right hand side, it seems to have failed. It's only got 6 for its morale standard, so it's not moved all game, and you'll know already that the centaurs have retreated, so all that needs to be done is the melee over here. So the impact here is that the Greeks are +1 for a heavy unit, but they both units charge. My unit charged. This one is half effect because it's a lighter unit, and it moved, it didn't charge, but it's hitting in the flank. So I'll calculate that. The green dice, sorry, I should say the blue dice is my unit, the black one is the Greek one. Right, so My unit is 5, charged that is 7 in total. Greeks are 1, charged is +2, and heavy units that's 4 in total. We have a 1, I can't half a 1, so it's just a 1 plus 1, so that's 2, so effectively it is 6 in total for the impact. Morale is 8, impact is 6, far above 2 and 4, so it's like a half move backwards. Morale here is 8, less 7 for the impact. That leaves 1, far above 1. 9, and 9 means that that unit is removed. I just need to draw a card for my unit. If the captain was impacted and with an ace, it's fine. So that's the first casualties I've inflicted on the virtual U, and so let's see what happens in the next turn. Okay, so my turn, and I got 5 commands. I've moved this unit up on the right hand side on the flank. Tested my wildmen to charge at Zeus's unit, and it failed with an 11. To fire this unit at this one. Units are both going to fire at the at Paris and his units there. Now what we're going to do is almost as if it's a volley of it. So I'm going to, if both hit, it'll be 1 morale test, but it'll be with both of the impacts together, so I'll explain that as I go. This unit's firing here. Let's see whether we hit or not. That's a hit. 1d6 impact is a 3. Morale of the unit is an 8, but they've got an 8, so that means it is sorry, so it means it is going to be 3 over, and it means it is like a half move backwards. Move here and won't be able to be used in the next phase. Firing 9s and 8s to hit. We'll use the blue dice for the ones that have got 9 as the morale standard, and that's both hitting. Combined impact. Oh, that's good. Well, that's 9. Morale for Paris is 10 less 9. It means it's 1. How far above 1? Right, by 1, so it's only a half move backwards. So I forgot to draw a card for this unit, so let's do that. First of all, Queen. What I know is that means that the captain of this unit is killed. The morale standard for that unit will drop to 7. Same for this unit. What do we get from this card? It's a 6, so that's fine. Okay, at the start of the VY phase, I rolled a 6, and a 6 meant it was a random event. It means I draw a card. Card is a 2. And a 2 means that there is a sudden downpour, and all units that are on foot move half distance this phase. And that meant, although I passed a number of units to move forward, what I wasn't able to do was to make contact for the virtual U over here, which was the intent. And so although the troops have moved closer together, there wasn't actually any hand-to-hand fighting in this turn, and I couldn't fire with the bowmen after being moved back in the previous phase. So that is the end of this turn. Okay, so in this turn I had 5 commands. I'm going to fire with this unit again at the same target over there. I've charged with these spearmen. The Greeks didn't countercharge. They failed with their roll, so I'll sort that out in a second. I wanted to charge with the wildmen, and again they failed. And so with these 2 units, they're going to have that combined fire at the nearest unit to it again. Now, this would be a 7 to hit, but it's the second time they fired at the same target, so this time it is a little easier, and it is a hit. -1, but the impact is to drop down to 7, so it's 5. Do we go over 5? Yes, we do. By 5, and that means that this unit will now make a full move away. So it finishes. 9 and 8 is the skill level of the units firing at this one. Blue dice, so that's a hit with both. 6 impact. is only 3. Is 8 less 3 is 5. Do we go over 5? No, we don't. Writing here, both units are an 8. They're not heavy units, but I charge, so +2 on my dice, which is going to be the blue dice. Impact 5 against 4. So 8 less 5 is 3. Do we go over 3? We do by 5, so it's 1 full move back. Morale is 8 less 4. Do we go above 4? We do, and that's a half move. Need to draw a card. And that's a jack. So what I know from this unit is that this unit will be impacted by its captain will be wounded. Morale will go down to 7 for the next 3 turns, and what I've done is I've moved both of these units back. The one behind it was close to it, so I'm saying they're both disordered and can't operate in the next phase. From that phase, the bowman and these 2 units can't operate, so let's see what happens next. Now in the VY phase, I've had some very poor rolls, and it means that Jason isn't moving. I've already mentioned that these units aren't moving over here. Zeus has passed a test, and I'm going to try some magic in a moment. This unit has gone bold and can't move, and the unit at the back there, which has a morale standard of 6, well, it just stayed still all game. However, Paris and the Centaurs have advanced, so I can attack on the flank again in the next turn. However, as I've mentioned, I'm going to turn to magic. Now this is the chapter as far as magic, and what I'm going to try and do is to introduce an illusion into the game. But even though it's Zeus, I'm going to try an illusion. He still needs to pass against his morale standard. Standard is 7, and he passes. What is produced is a terrifying manticore, and it is now approaching the wild men, and they are going to need to take a terror test. It's all of these units. This spears, wild men and archers, and they take a -2 from their morale standard, as if we're taking a normal morale test, and see how they react. This is an 8, and a terror test, you get a -2, so the morale standard is effectively 6. And what will it do? 6 is fine. It stays exactly where it is. 9 for the wild men, less 2 is 7. How will they react? They'll be fine. 8 for these archers, with 6 effectively. Their reaction, they will make a half move away. And so what seems to be very little reaction against it, the illusion disappears and has been rather disappointing in its impact. Well, at the start of the new turn, something significant has happened. I rolled for my command, I got 1. I get an additional 1 because I'm attacking, so that's 2, and you can also get an additional command from your command unit if it's within 6 inches of another unit, which it is, so that will be 3 in total, but not great. However, I rolled a 6 for a random event, and with that I drew a card, and it was a king. And with a king, it's telling me that it's now or never. The leader inspires the next attack or defense to have a +3 on an impact. With that, and with the command unit issuing an order to my wildman, I'm going to charge and attack Zeus's unit here with that +3. Need to make sure that that charge takes place, and it does. Zeus countercharge. Yes. My other 2 commands, I've charged over here, and Jason has countercharged, and I intended to charge with Aetes in the flank. However, the charge failed, so I now need to work out these 2 actions. I'm going to start off with this one. My impact is a blue dice, +2. Jason gets a +3 as a heavy unit, so it means 5 plays 6 on impact. My unit is an 8 less 6 is 2. How far above 2? Oh, only by 1. And draw a card. That's no impact for the character in the unit. Jason is 9 for morale, less 5 gives 4, and again that's half a move backwards. There's impact on Jason. No, there isn't. And here, But what about this? The impact of the wild men is a heavy unit charged, so that's 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 3 from the random event element, the inspiration, so plus 6. Greeks is plus 3 as a heavy unit that charged. Mine is the blue dice, so my impact is 10 and 7 from the Greeks. Morale of the Zeus unit is 7, so we're already 3 over, plus 2d6. And the 2d6 is 7, we're already over, and that means that unit is removed. Now, the impact on my unit is 9 less 7, so we're already 2 over than 2, and that means we are 3 over, so it's a half move back. Now I've rolled for a random event for the virtual U, and there is one as well, and on top of that it's also a king, so there is a charge there with a plus 3 impact. And it's actually been quite a good turn too in terms of passing for the approaches. So although the bowmen at the back have gone cautious, and obviously Jason had to move back with regards to the fighting, these units have advanced, and in particular over here, a charge into the bowmen, plus we've got an impact significantly from the random event. So I fear for these bowmen, let's just work out what happens. Paris charged, so it's plus 2, plus 1 for a heavy unit, plus 3 for inspiration, so that's plus 6 on the impact. And then I also moved into the flank here, so this gets a plus 1, so we'll say blue is Paris. Test my maths here, so we'll have 4 is the impact, plus 6 is 10. Then we also had another 5 plus 1, so we've got 16 as the impact. That means that unit is removed. Even if I roll 2 1s, it'll be 9 above altogether, so I'll just remove it. So an impact, or the light unit does impact against Paris, so what was the impact? It's halved, so 3 is the impact. Of 10 less 3 is 7, and that is 7, so no impact. So at the end of the turn, it still remains close. Let's see what happens in the next turn. Now in this new turn, it wasn't a random event. I had 6 commands, and significantly I have charged with all of these units and had counter charges. So we've got 3 areas for fighting in a moment. A 4th activity was I tried to charge with this unit, but it failed, so that's why the black dice is against it. But significantly, I then fired with these archers at the unit closest to it. I hit, and the impact was a 6. The morale of the units opposite is 8. However, with the deduction of 6, it takes it to a 2, and then I rolled for it and got a 10. So in fact, that unit is now removed. I'd left 1 additional command for potential magic, so we'll see what the outcome is of these 3 actions to see whether magic is needed. So let's start here. Aetes' unit is 8 against Jason, which is 9, and Jason is also a plus 1 as a heavy unit. So mine is the blue dice. So both charged, so my impact is 5, Jason 6. My morale is 8 less 6 is 2. Do we go above 2? We do, by 8, so that unit is removed. So it is a 9, less 5 is 4. How far above 4? It isn't. Jason's fine. It's also important to mention that I've now lost 4 units out of 10. We go beyond 50%, and that is the end of the game. So these 2 units, neither of them are heavy. They've charged, so it's a plus 2. Morale standard of mine is 8 to 9, which is Hercules. Mine is the blue dice. So that's 7. 7 plays 5. Hercules' morale is 9 less 7. It's 2. Do we go above? Oh, only by 1. Draw a card. See if there's an impact. It's an ace, so no. Morale is 8 less 5 is 3. Do we go above 3? Oh, crikey. Yes, we do, by 8. And that means that unit is also removed. So this is where we've got to before this action. And I'm now at 50% of my force. That's even before the phase of the virtual U, so it's desperate stakes. Let's see if we can get somewhere in this action. So the Wildmen are a heavy unit, so that is +1, both units charged, so it's +3 to +2 impact. Oh, 6 for both. That could be a disaster for both. So for the Greeks, their morale standard is 7, lost 9, so we're already 2 over, so we add 2 to this roll, and that's 9, so that unit is removed. The Wildmen, 9 less 7, so how far above 2 do we go? No, we're okay, so it's just a half move behind, and we can't lose the sort of main character in this unit because we've already lost it. Well, in what I thought was a decisive attack for my units has turned into disaster, and that leaves me in a situation where I am in the worst possible spot. It means it leaves me with 5 units against 6 of the virtual U. Right, so this rule set is about the ancient land of Lexium, and what that is referring to is the guardians that are the gods that influence this world. And one key aspect is about the immortality of some of the characters. We've already seen Zeus on the virtual U side, but there is also an immortal on mine, and one of the key aspects of that is that they can also look for divine intervention, and I'm going to do that right now. It means that with my force having just 2 light units in archers, and also having the possibility of being, wiped out really, and indeed my immortal captured, I'm going to go for divine intervention. And that effectively means that as long as I don't roll a double 6, then the units can be removed from the board and kept for a new campaign. Anything other than a double 6 will avoid a surrender, and we don't, and therefore this effectively means the end of the game. Well, as a result, I'm allowed to leave the battlefield with honour, but I'm going to leave it to the virtual U as the victor. Okay, so it's the end of the game. It just leaves me to say thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the game and got a better understanding, for those who've seen it for the first time, Fantasy Wargaming World Solo. I'll see what games played next, and with what period, whether we'll do a historic game or another fantasy battle. If you got any thoughts, really welcome to see comments on the YouTube channel, and indeed on the Wargaming World Facebook group. And thanks again to everybody who does so, and everybody who's watched all the way through the game. So thanks again, and I'll see you soon.